All right, welcome back to 14-Day Pilot Flight Academy. I'm Captain Goeyardi, your flight instructor today. So while we're waiting for the other participant, and we're gonna discuss about the traffic pattern, the art of flying traffic pattern. Hi, how are you, Vanessa? Nice to meet you. Hello, how are you? So welcome here, and you can invite another people to come. I'm glad to share with you today. Maybe we can start for another 5 or 7 minutes while waiting the other people to come by. We're gonna discuss about how to do the traffic pattern in the easiest way. A lot of people get troubles when they go for the traffic pattern for the first time. Let's talk about how to fly the single engine airplane, non turboprop, of course, just like a training airplane. This can also be used for the twin engine, just a normal twin engine. But let's talk about how to fly the traffic pattern if you're flying the Cessna 172 or maybe the Piper or any small single engine. Hi, welcome, Mr. Iransha from Indonesia. Thank you very much for coming. So let's start from 5 to 7 minutes after this. Okay, yeah. Maybe we can do it for the oral exam PPL, so for the FAA. Thank you guys for coming, and please subscribe this YouTube channel, and hopefully we can share a lot of useful information to you. All right, so get your pen, get your notes. We're gonna have fun tonight. Here in Indonesia, I'm here in Bandung. It's really nice place to go. You have to be here and at the Intercontinental Hotel, it's 5 star hotels. So now it's 10 p.m. 28th of April. I believe that YouTube and the internet will connect us around the world. It doesn't matter where am I. We can always share together, right? Okay, while waiting, just get your pen and your notes ready. Let's imagine you are a pilot, then you're gonna fly the Cessna 172, and I will give you the easiest way, I promise you. By the end of this video, you're gonna understand, you will get a better picture of how to conduct the traffic pattern, okay? And I also share to you how the other flight instructors around the world, especially in my country, okay, a lot of flight instructors in my country, they put too much detail on the traffic pattern, then it becomes like another hassle for the students, because the traffic pattern itself is already hard to do. For the first time pilot, they have to call the radios, they have to fill the airplane, and then they have to think about what next. If you put a lot of procedures, it doesn't work like that, right? Because the flying itself is really simple. What you have to do is you want to make your student feel enjoy. They get the picture, they get the big picture of why should we do the traffic pattern, all right? And then how about the power settings, and how to conduct the speed, of course, the altitude, how to maintain the altitude, how to maintain the traffic separation with the other airplane. And beside that, you have to keep communicate with the ATC, with the tower in this case. So it's not easy, right? It's not easy. That's why I will give you a procedures, some procedures, because I believe if you're flying the 172, based on the FAA Airplane Flying Handbook, they don't specifically tell you about what you have to do, and specifically what is the power setting. So every instructor has a different method, okay? When I was in my private pilot, I have 100 years old instructors. He's a British instructor, he's really great. And he teach me about how to manage the speed, of course, and then the power settings. But when I went to another instructors, I met my friends, they teach another things. I mean, it's different with their student. So this is my own way, right? Because my first instructor taught me like that, then I teach my student like this. And I can see that I have trained people from zero to become a private pilot in just 14 days. I did it. He's Indonesian, his name is Richard, and the other student is Ferrandi. You can also see their testimonial in this YouTube, right? They, at the first time when they touched the real airplane, They're really confused what to do because in Van Nuys, California, a lot of traffic and very fast communication from the ATC. Then we have to consider how to bring this kind of students, the young boy, like 18 years old boy, come to the airport like this, and they can comply with the English and all the procedures, memorize the things. Then after they excel with that, then I can release them for solo, right? All right, so let's see. Okay, so feel free to send me a comment and questions here. I'm glad you participate with this event, all right? So let's start. Well, the traffic pattern, let's talk about the Cessna 172, the single engine propeller, okay? Okay, so you're flying traffic pattern. Why do we need to do traffic pattern? Because you want to learn how to land the airplane. Every time you fly, we want to land, right? We want to land after we taking off. You join the downwind and then you're coming back, you land. Everything has a procedures. This is just a basic. If you fly the bigger jets, they have like specific procedures on each stage. They have even different altitude. Like the turboprop, when I fly the Citation jet, my traffic pattern altitude is 1500 feet, is 1500. But when I fly the Cessna 172 or any single engine airplane, the small airplane for the training or for leisure, or right, the traffic pattern altitude is always 1000 feet above the ground elevation, above the airport in this thing. So let's say your airport is 800 feet, the elevation, right? The elevation is 800 feet. Then your altitude will be 1,800. That's the standard. But remember, every airport has their different local procedures. What I can say this, let's say in Van Nuys, California airport, they have two runways, okay, 16 left and 16 right. You can go for airnav.com, you can copy, go to Van Nuys airport diagram. Then you can see that they have two runways, 16 left, 16 right. The problem is if you're looking for the different runway, okay, they should be in the same elevation, right? 1,800. But FAA has a different procedure on each airport, and you have to take a look to the chart supplement. We call that the chart supplement. You can Googling it. It's not really good in the YouTube live. I cannot share you the picture here, but if we do the webinar, normally I share you about the chart diagram or any great content to share with you. But you can now Googling about the airport diagram or of KVNY, right? That's for the airport diagram. You know, the airport elevation is 800 feet. Then when you go there, it means we have an idea. What is my traffic pattern altitude? The FAA provides you with the document in the chart supplement, or if you know about that, right? You can read it and you can see that the elevation is 802, and then the traffic pattern altitude on the remark sections, they put it like 1,000 feet above the ground elevation, or they specifically say that runway 16 right has a 2,000 AGL, runway 16 left has a 1,800. That's in Van Nuys. So let's say you are living in the ICAO country, maybe Indonesia, Malaysia, or Singapore. They have like AIP, airport information to publish, right? You can open that, you learn about that before you go for the traffic pattern. So the most important part is you know what is your airport elevation. That's the easiest way. Let's say normally we fly in Seletar Airport as well in Singapore, right? Hey Prince, how are you? Thank you very much. You can invite another friends to come and watch me here, all right? I really appreciate you always keep watch our video. So in Seletar, Singapore, their elevation, let's say, is 45 feet, then your traffic pattern altitude will be 1,045. Or if they have like specific local procedures, then you have to comply with their specific procedures. So let's say we put 1,000 AGL, right? Any airport in your location, the first thing you want to know is find out what is the airport elevation. Then you add 1,000 feet because we want to put 1,000 feet AGL, right, for the traffic pattern altitude. So that's the idea. That's the first thing you want to know. This number two, remember the traffic pattern the standard traffic pattern is always to the left, okay? Left traffic pattern. So traffic pattern is always to the left. Then after your departure, you know that you're gonna turn to the left unless you request for non-standard. Let's say Van Nuys Tower, November 63903 Charlie. We request left close traffic. That's a normal one, all right? Or if not standard, then you will request the right close traffic, because in the chart supplement they already put where is the standard traffic pattern on that specific airport on the runway. Even on the VFR chart they put it either that right pattern, or if there is no right pattern or RP, Romeo Papa, right, RP, then it means the traffic pattern will be a standard. Don't get confused with the holding. If you're doing a holding in the IFR, the holding section, if you turn to hold, the standard holding pattern is to the right, the traffic pattern is to the left. So it's two different things. So a lot of people confused about this, even me, right? So after you're airborne, you want to go to the left pattern unless you request for the non-standard or specifically say that on that runway that will be the right traffic pattern. Okay, so think about that. My airport elevation at 1,000 feet, that will be my final cruising altitude. So when I departure, I turn to the left, right, and climbing, and then maintain 1,000 above ground level. So if your ground level, your runway elevation is 800, then you should fly 1,800, maintain that, and coming back and land, right? So what we're gonna discuss now is what is the procedures, all right? The procedures is really important here. So I got a picture here. I'll change the camera for a while. Hopefully you can see it in a better way. All right. So let's take a look. I draw it for you. So this is runway 16. Okay, let's imagine this is runway 16 and this is runway 34. So this is the tower. Then this is the traffic pattern to the left. And remember, the distance between your pattern here and the runway is half to 1 mile. So that will be half miles, okay, to maximum 1 mile distance. Because this is really useful when you're flying the spatial VFR at night, the weather is IMC, but you're instrument rated pilot, you can still flying under spatial VFR at night as long as you're 1 mile about the traffic patterns, maximum, and the clear of clouds, so on. Okay, but we are not discussing, we are not gonna discuss about that. But this is all VFR, okay, this is the normal VFR flight. Let me try to focus this. Okay, good. So you depart from runway 16, you're climbing, okay? So remember, what's the first thing you need to take care after you airborne? The first thing you want to do is maintain runway heading. Don't get drift to the left or to the right. I know sometimes the wind is really strong that bring you to the right or to the left, I know. But at this time, I want you to maintain, to keep your flying path on the runway. If you're flying at on the runway 16, it means your magnetic heading will be 160. Then make sure before you take off, you check your DJI. You have adjusted that with the compass, the magnetic compass. So after you're airborne, okay, you maintain your visual with the horizons. You're not climbing with the pitch too high or even too low, just enough to make sure the speed will become a VY. Then we discuss about this later. Okay, so you take off, get used to it. You look into the back seat through the window if you're flying the Cessna, all right? If you're flying the Piper, just take a look to the left or right reference. Maintain a runway heading, whatever it takes. If you get drift, put it back your plane to the center line, okay? Then, when you're taking off, I want you to climb at least minimums at the VY climb. I don't want you to climb at 90 knots or 100 knots. Take a look to the VY on your POH, okay? What is your VY of your airplane? I believe it's 79, you can put it 80 knots. So I always teach my student when you climb, maintain 80 knots, that's the minimums. You cannot fly, it's not minimum, it's a maximum. You cannot fly like 90 knots or 100 knots in here. Why? You need VY. Why do we need VY? Because you never know when you're airborne, right? you need to climb as soon as possible to reach the safe altitude, maybe 1,000 feet. We don't want to get an engine failure like 300 feet here, then because you already traveled so much further, but you only gain like 300, 400 feet instead of you're climbing to 6 or 700 feet because you climb at the VY. Okay, VY is the best rate of climb, okay, speed. Then in a specific time, of course, you get a really efficient flight performance with this faster speed. You can gain the altitude. It's a little bit different with the VX because the VX is only concerned about the shorter distance to bring you to any altitude you want, right? It doesn't care about the efficiency. So maintain VY on the climb unless you have like 50-foot obstacle. You have a tree here maybe, but if there's no obstacle there, you don't have to clear 50-foot obstacle. Then after you climb, go to VY 80 knots, okay? And then at 500 AGL, you can start to turn, right? You start left turn. Then before that, you can say right clear, front clear, left clear. Then you start turning to the left, turning to the left. If you're heading to 16, then the best part in US is a lot of road or landmark that's perpendicular with the runway. So you just cut 90 degrees here. You don't turn like this directly, no. We want to make it square. So you turn like 90 degrees, okay? So 90 degrees to 16 is 70, maybe roughly heading to the 70. After you turn, you just count like this, 1001, 1002, 1003. Then you start turning to the reciprocal heading of the 16. That means it's 3, 4. So go to 1000 feet AGL. So today I'm not teaching you about how to maintain your altitude, but let's discuss about we turn left, okay, just make it square, 1001, 1002, 1003, that's like a mental timing. Then you turn left to the heading 340 with the 1000 AGL. So it means 1000 AGL, that will be 1800 some in Van Nuys, okay, because the airport elevation is 800. Then your pressure altitude, your altimeter will show you 1,800 feet. And after that, you're here, you beam the tower. Normally, they will give you a clearance, like clear for touch and go, clear for the options, or at the first time before you depart, the tower will say report every time midfield, the tower, right? Midfield a beam. So this is like midfield a beam the tower. It doesn't matter. You fly here. What's your speed? Normally, I always recommend to fly maximum like 100 knots here. Don't go faster because you want to, hey, thanks, Prince. Thank you. So here is 100 knots, right? You know you want to be slower because you just do a traffic pattern. You don't have to fly like 150 knots, 120 knots here. Just maintain 100 knots and roughly half to 1 miles. Okay, roughly, you know later when you get experience, more flying hours, then you know how far is the 1 miles from the runway. Then after you're here, okay, a beam, the threshold, normally I recommend you to pull up the power. And how about the power setting? After you airborne, you take off with maximum power, and at here, normally I reduce the power to 22 to 23 RPM. If you're using manifold pressure, maybe 20 or 21 inch manifold pressure, okay, 22 to 23, or something like that. Or you want to fly like slower if you have a strong tailwind. The most important part is you maintain the 100 knots, okay? If you got a tailwind, then maybe you want to put it like 20 to 21. It depends on what's the wind, right? Then the point when you got a beam with the threshold, okay, put your speed to the top of the wide arc. You doesn't care about the speed anymore. Just reduce the power little by little, okay? Just enough, I mean, to make the speed go to the top of the wide arc of your airspeed indicator. Today, I assume that you already know about what is the airspeed indicator. Just put the needle, your indicated airspeed, to the top of the wide arc, okay? Meanwhile, In this position, a lot of instructors teaching a different method, but today I'm sharing you what is the easiest way and what I have learned before, I mean, right? Okay, and then, hey, hi, Tom. Okay, yeah, we can give you a free private pilot. Doesn't matter. It's easier. It's easy. Okay. Then we are here, right? After 45 degrees, this is the rule of thumb. When you reach the 45 degrees, a lot of instructors they did a mistake. They asked the students to count, like when a beam count 45 seconds, count 45 or 50 seconds. No, that is not true. That's not correct. A lot of my instructor friend in Indonesia, they always use that method. No, that's not correct because the wind always change, your true airspeed is always change, your ground speed always change. So you cannot do the timing. What you want to do is you're using your reference, your 45 degrees reference with the wing relative to the threshold here, okay? Find your sweet spot to find the 45 degrees. Then when you do a left turn, okay, left turn here, okay, before you do a left turn, after you get a 45 degrees, then you want to do the 1, 2, 3 things. This is really easy to do. 1, 2, 3 things. The power should be on the 1500 RPM. You reduce the power slowly, right? 1500 RPM, and you set the flaps to 1, flaps 1 knots of, okay? And the Cessna is flap stand, I believe, and then the carb heat on. Okay, Cessna is a little bit different with the Piper. So Cessna, if you're leaving the green zone, it's really recommended to use the carb heat. Okay, because icing, this is all about the icing. Icing can happen if you have a visible moisture, then humid, right? Especially when you're on the lower RPM, then the throttle, you know, the throttle valve. This is the carburetor. The throttle will really, you have really narrow space here. Then the air goes really fast and cool. Then it could make a freezing here. So the Cessna is always recommend you if you're leaving the green. Okay, you can use the carb heat. So remember, 1, 2, 3 things. Then you start your turn. You descend with the speed 80 knots. Just make sure that you put the power setting at 1500 RPM, then you descend with 80 knots, okay? It's definitely 80 knots. If you descend 80 knots, set the speed, because in the small airplane, the power is for altitude, okay? And the pitch, it's for speed. That on the small airplane. It's different with the turbine and the jet. So in this case, after you set the 1500 RPM, what you want to do is you descend, you set a pitch to get an 80 knots with the flaps 1, okay? Get an 80 knots with the flaps 1. You turn until you got a base lag. We call this a base lag. You set the second knots of flap, and then set your speed to 70, okay? 70 knots. Because when you apply another flaps, the drag will increase and your speed will drop. You may want to add more power to just put the speed to 70 knots. And on your final turn, okay, final turn, this is when you apply the flaps for the third knots of flap or the full flaps, okay? Then when you align with the runway on the final, you want to aim 60 to 65 knots, because some examiner, they like to see the Cessna fly with 60 knots. Some examiner want to be safe like 65. So roughly 60 to 65 knots, your examiner run in the United States, they will pretty much accept that. So when you fly 60 to 65 with the full flaps, what you do is you adjust the wind. Let's say you got a crosswind, then you want to do crabbing, okay? And in the short final, you can do the side slip, the yoke into the wind, opposite rudder stuff, right? And here, then you land. So the most important part here, you know what is power setting. The big idea is on here. When you're flying near to the 45 degrees, you know what to do. When you beam the threshold, you drop the speed to the wide arc, top of the wide arc, and then at this place, you put the 1, 2, 3 things, power to 1500 RPM, flaps 1, carb hit on, then you can apply your landing checklist. If you fly the complex airplane, it means just always remember, make sure prop full forward and throttle, adjust the throttle, and then the gear must be down. So it should be like red, blue, and green. You see the 3 greens, okay? Then 70 knots here with the second knots of flap, and coming back here, turning vinyl with aiming 60 to 65 knots. And if you have the puppy here, then you will adjust your pitch, your altitude with the visual glide slope indicator, right? And you maintain 60, 65 with flap full and you land. Okay, so it's really easy to do. You don't have to do all stages with the complicated procedures because flying itself is already is not easy, right? So let me put back here. Then, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. And if you want to convert your private pilot, then you want to get instrument rating and commercial. Okay. Yeah, of course, we have one Australian private pilot and went to our flight academy. Her name is Verlin Young. You can see her testimonial video. And finally, we send them the free private pilot conversion because she joined to our flight academy. After clear with the TSA, then she went for the instrument rating, and now she is instrument rated pilot FAA. Okay. So any question regarding the traffic pattern, we're really happy to answer you. Just send a comment there, subscribe to YouTube. Okay. Hopefully you can learn that the traffic pattern is really simple. For flight instructors who listen to me, I encourage you to make the traffic pattern simpler. Okay, teach the student in really easy way. I know you want to be very exact on every stage. I really understand. I get it. But if you teach the 0-hour students, just use the simple method that I teach you today. Okay. Normally I teach the young CFI as well, the new instructors. I give them the idea. What is the teaching? Because you want to help the student to learn. If at the first point you put a lot of pressure, they don't learn. They just stress, they hate flying, they just feel, okay, this is not for me, I don't want to fly because it's so complicated, okay? So your job as the flight instructors, you're helping students to learn. Don't yell at them, don't punch them. I know you want to slap them. Don't do that, okay? Just motivate them to understand the concept, because if they know about the big picture, they can do it properly. Because I have that experience with a lot of students. I teach people to become a private pilot in just 14 days. It's not easy. And I got my partner too. He's really senior, and he taught me a lot of things, how to install this idea to the new pilot. So hopefully you can get my idea today. Really happy to welcome you to 14-day Pilot Flight Academy. And always fly with us, fly safe. Okay, so that's it. Subscribe and like, and maybe share to this video to another pilots. We can share together. Thank you very much for watching me. See you on the next video. Bye bye.